Hello friends, let's switch our attention to the new question of unit number 2, special technology for how vulcanization with accelerators differ from that without accelerator system. The first substances used to shorten the uneconomically long vulcanization times were inorganic accelerators, mainly oxides of metals like calcium, magnesium, and lead. It so happens that the earliest accelerators, which were used by researchers, though without understanding the relationship, have now been most entirely ousted by organic compounds. So earlier they used to use metal oxides like zinc oxide, calcium oxide, magnesium oxide. So it so happens that the earliest accelerators which were used by researchers, though without understanding the relationship, have now been almost entirely ousted by organic compounds. It is known that each type of accelerator has its own effects on vulcanization time and temperature. So हर एक एक्सेलरेटर का जो टाइप है उसका खुद का एक इफेक्ट होता है ऑन वल्कनाइजेशन टाइम. तो बेसिकली हम एक्सेलरेटर यूज़ क्यों करते हैं? बिकॉज अगर वल्कनाइजेशन सिस्टम बहुत लॉन्ग हो गया तो वो अनइकोनॉमिकल हो जाएगा. सो उसे इकोनॉमिकल करने के लिए हमें वल्कनाइजेशन सिस्टम का टाइम को कम करना पड़ता है, तो उसके लिए एक्सेलरेटर यूज़ करना पड़ता है. इट इज़ नोन दैट ईच टाइप ऑफ एक्सेलरेटर हैज़ इट ओन इफेक्ट ऑन वल्कनाइजेशन टाइम एंड टेम्परेचर. Each accelerator showed different effects on different rubbers and on sulfur. So mechanism of sulfur vulcanization with different accelerator may be different. Along with the accelerator, activator can also use these compounds having activating effects on accelerator. For example, zinc oxide influences and reinforces the action of many accelerators. Sorry, I said zinc oxide earlier. It was lead oxide as accelerator, but this zinc oxide is a activator. Influences and reinforces the action of many accelerators. So activators have activating effect on accelerators. Okay, this effect is of great importance, and nowadays hardly any accelerator is used without zinc oxide. The first of the accelerators were dithiocarbamates, aldehydes, ammonia, hexamethylene tetramine. Accelerated sulfur vulcanization chemistry is very complex, since several chemical reactions start at the same time, following their own speed at the selected vulcanization temperature. Both radical and ionic reactions are involved, and the resultant effects depend largely on the compounding formulation. The crosslink structure depends on nature of rubber, ratio of sulfur to accelerator, and temperature of vulcanization. So this is all regarding how vulcanization with accelerators differ from that without. So first they were using inorganic accelerators, then they started using organic ones. Okay, now describe thiazole accelerated sulfur vulcanization with its mechanism. In the presence of heat, MBTS, what this MBTS could be? Molecules react with sulfur to form a sulfurating agent of the type monomeric polysulfide. The polysulfide sulfurating agent molecules react with rubber molecules to form saturated rubber molecules of the type polymeric polysulfide. And the release of MBT molecules. Two MBT molecules react to form MBTS again. The sulfurated rubber decomposes into rubber S type radicals, which are the crosslink forerunners, and in the process MBT molecule is released. Two MBT molecules react to form MBT again. Then the crosslink forerunner combines with another rubber molecule to form rubber SX rubber crosslink. So this reaction is quite simple. For you take the accelerator MBTS, okay, then sulfur. So sulfurating agent is made because of presence of this sulfur. Now rubber molecule is added to the sulfurating agent. So this entire complex get attached to rubber, liberating this molecule. This is the MBT molecule. Now MBT molecule reacts with another MBT molecule and you get MBT. Yes. Then this rubber further attacks this MBT molecule and we get MBTs. Crosslink 4 nano rubber SX crosslink. So this reaction is quite complicated. We have to understand it. So first there is MBTS molecule. It reacts with sulfur. It becomes sulfurating agent because of the presence of sulfur. SX is S8 here. Now this sulfurating agent is reacted with rubber. We get this sulfurated rubber. Okay, this entire molecule is released out, which is MBT molecule. SH C double bond NS benzene ring. Okay. Now this sulfurated rubber also liberates this molecule, MBT molecule, and then to this rubber SX another rubber molecule is attached and crosslink is formed. So basically two MBT molecules are released and these two MBT molecules combine together to form MBTS. Okay, so this is the reaction. Explain vulcanization with peroxide. Organic peroxide as curing agent, especially for saturated rubber which do not contain any reactive group, capable of forming crosslink. Organic peroxides as curing agent, especially for saturated rubbers which do not contain any reactive group, capable of forming crosslinks. Organic peroxide as curing agent. So this organic peroxide acts as curing agent, okay, especially for saturated rubbers which do not contain any reactive group. So if you want to carry out reactions with unsaturated rubber, you will use this vulcanizing agents, you will use accelerators, you will use activators, and your work will be done. But if you are talking about saturated rubbers which do not have any reactive group, then also you want to make vulcanization possible, then you have to add peroxides. Okay. Peroxide do not enter into the polymeric chain but produces radical to form C2C linkages with adjacent polymeric chains. Example: peroxide, dicumyl peroxide, zinc peroxide, benzoyl peroxide, 2,4-chlorobenzoyl peroxide, etc. Mechanism is very simple. The mechanism of cross-linking using peroxide is homolytic one. Homolytic fission you must have heard, breaking down into twins. At the beginning of the vulcanization process, the organic peroxide splits into two radicals according to this equation, RO breaking down to 2RO star. The free radicals formed as a consequence of the decomposition of the peroxide abstract hydrogen atoms from the elastomer molecule, converting them into macroradicals. The resultant macroradicals react with each other, forming CC intermolecular bridges. So this is our peroxide radical. Okay, two radical. Suppose this is benzoyl peroxide broken down to R star, reacting with this elastomer, which is polybutadiene, of course, and then the radical site is shifted here, and then this radical site combines with another radical side of the elastomer, and they are cross-linked. Okay. Give brief explanation about curing rate. The rate at which stiffness or modulus develop after Scrotch point. It is cross-linking rate. Scrotch point is premature vulcanization. Stocks become cross-linked during processing. It reduces plastic properties of compound, thus interfering with forming, operation, and ruining final product. So scorch point is premature vulcanization, and the rate at which stiffness and modulus develop after scorch point, it is the cross-linking rate. So stocks become cross-linking during processing. So scorch point is not desirable because it is premature vulcanization, and in scorch point the stocks become cross-linked during processing, and if it becomes cross-linked during processing, then it reduces the plastic property of the compound, thus interfere with forming, operation, and ruining the final product. So if the cross-linking starts happening during processing only, then your product will not be desirable and the final product will be ruined. Scorch is a result of combined effect of time and temperature on the compound stock. Scorch time generally defines time to onset of vulcanization at particular temperature and thus represents time available for processing. During this period, compound changes from soft plastic to tough elastic material required for its end use. This effects result from the induction of crosslink connecting long polymeric chain. As more crosslinks are introduced, networks become tighter, stiffer, or modulus of compound increases. So you have to see the scorch time. You should carry out your processing in a time which is less than scorch time, so that your polymer does not get cross-linked during processing only, and your final product is desirable. Cure time. Cure time is the time required during vulcanization step for required amount of cross-linking to occur, yielding desired level of properties. Its two components are scorch time and cross-linking time, later being controlled by the rate of cure. State of cure. In general, state of cure is term used. So cure time is nothing but scorch time and cross-linking time. Okay. State of cure. In general, state of cure is the term used to indicate the level of particular property of rubber with respect to ultimate value of that property in fully vulcanized stock. So state of cure is the term used to indicate the level of particular property of rubber. Suppose tensile strength. So that property of rubber with respect to ultimate value of that property in fully vulcanized stock. For example, as the cross-linking proceeds, modulus of compound increases, indicating higher states of cure. So called the optimum state of cure is amount of cross-linking that results in maximum modulus. However, one must keep in mind that all properties imparted by vulcanization do not react to their optimum values at the same level of cure. Overcure. A cure time which is longer than optimum results in an overcure. There are generally two possible results of overcure depending on types of rubber and curing system. Stock may continue to harden with loss in tensile strength and elongation, or it may soften with loss in modulus, tensile, and elongation later. Effect is commonly called reversible and is most noticeable in natural rubber compound. Okay. Let us see what is there in our unit number 2. So it is introduction to vulcanization, need for vulcanization, stress strain relationship for vulcanization rubber, vulcanization by sulfur peroxide we have seen, and by other materials, type of vulcanization we have seen, kinetics of vulcanization we have seen, chemical reactions, factors affecting rate of vulcanization. So all that we have seen. So that's our unit number 2 is over. Anything left, I'll give you that one in the assignment. Oh my god, but there is some more. Determination of cure rate of rubbers, testing and analysis of raw rubber. This part we have not done, so we'll see this also. Testing and properties.